Goeiedag, good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world.
I've been looking around for salvation. I've been looking around for the truth. All around me I see frustration, and I looked all over till I found you. I sit and listen to your stories, and you're telling me, please don't worry. Lot in this world you should know, and love in life is where you should go. If you're looking for somewhere to go, if you're looking for someone to know, if you're looking for someone to guide you, then love in life will guide you.
Goeienaand, good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. And yes, I'm wearing an SNP t-shirt, or shirt. There we go, you can see on the back. Isn't that nice? That's what happens when people from political parties send me their shirts. Well, you got to wear them on the night. And tonight I'm talking to Christopher Claasen, who's the president of the Spectrum National Party, which is the political party we're talking to tonight. And we got a couple of very interesting, controversial subjects to talk about, which will include, of course, the infamous Democratic Alliance. But you'll just have to wait to see what we're going to say there. And I'm also going to be talking to Charles Venter, who's the Deputy President for the white community in SNP. And then hopefully a little bit into the conversation, Melanie Reddy, who's the Indian Deputy President, will be joining us. But two of the Deputy Presidents are unavailable tonight. They're basically tied up with things, which is understandable. So let's get the show on the road, shall we? And good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us. And here we go. I'll get Christopher Claasen on first. Hi, Christopher.
Hi, good evening, Scott. How are you doing?
Excellent, thank you. Excellent. Good to see you, buddy.
Awesome. Yeah, awesome. Good to see you again, Scott.
It's been about, it's well over 6 months since we last had a chat.
Yeah, absolutely, Scott. It's been a while, and I'm sure the viewers also missed us and want to know what happened with Spectrum and how's this going.
Well, I did show everybody my nice shirt that I'm wearing.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, we actually couriered that golf shirt to you, from South Africa to Australia.
You did, and I wear it every time we have a live stream. So there you go. It's paid for itself.
Absolutely. There's a reason why you're wearing that shirt, Scott, because you know that Spectrum is the only hope for South Africa and takes South Africa to a first world country.
I certainly believe it's one of the best. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Charles, good to meet you.
Good to meet you too, sir.
Great. Now, tonight we're going to be talking about Spectrum National Party, and no one better than you, Christopher, to tell us about that. But we're also going to be covering a couple of the controversial things that are happening in 2024. And Charles, I think you might have something later to talk about regarding the Democratic Alliance and their funding. But that's a very interesting story. So we'll get to that shortly. All right, just to kick off, Christopher, how old is Spectrum National Party?
Scott, Spectrum National Party is celebrating their 4th anniversary on the 28th of November this year. So which means Spectrum is 4 years old, or should I say 4 years young? I don't think we are a young party anymore. I think being 4 years now in operation, I think we're almost halfway of our 10-year anniversary.
And I take it for your anniversary, you're going to be booking the FNB Stadium, are you? Fill it up.
Absolutely. I think we were a book of few stadiums that time, Scott.
Well, as long as you don't sing the, or have that infamous chant that a certain idiot sings.
We're going to sing praises unto the Lord, Scott. Praises unto the Lord, because God wants to do the supernatural for South Africa.
Fantastic. Now, okay, so tell me about your ideology, Christopher. Over to you.
Yeah, Scott and viewers, Spectrum National Party, 4 years ago when when the vision came from God to start something new, something that is not like any other political party. And I said to myself, actually, in fact, it started like this. My little boy, who was 7 years old at that time, he's now 12, he said to me, Daddy, when you're going to become the president of South Africa, you're going to take care of all the poor people in this country. You know what, for a 7-year-old boy kid to come and tell you this, I was never interested in politics, Scott. And I just suddenly thought, wow, Lord, why are you talking through this son, to this child, to me? And I said, okay. And I was thinking about it, and I was asked the Holy Spirit to guide me. I'm also a pastor, for those who don't know that. And I asked the Holy Spirit to guide me in what is happening, why. And then Scott, and I said, okay. And I approached a few of my friends and families, and would you like to join, or would you mind us starting a political party? And everybody was very impressed and very upset. Why not? But then I said, don't let us be like any other political party. Let us come up with something new. The burning issues. How are we going to fix the burning issues? And our ideology is, we are the only political party in South Africa, in the whole world, who says that all race should govern this country equally, which means that Spectrum is the only political party in South Africa who has 4 deputy presidents, a black, a brown, a white, and an Indian, to represent their cultural groups. This is what makes our party so unique. We really want to take South Africa to a first world country. This is what we're going to do for South Africans. We don't want to see people suffering in this country. We are tired of corruption and crime, and the list is just going on. And you know what is the burning issues in this country. So Spectrum really say, we are ready to take South Africa to a first world country, Scott. And that makes our party so unique, and that's why so many people joining the party. You are new. What are you going to do? We haven't seen you done a lot of things. That's what people always saying. But we don't want to be like other political parties, go and burn, or some political parties burning tires and to get attention. We really want to do things the ordinary way, the right way, the professional way, Scott. And that makes Spectrum so unique versus the other political parties in South Africa.
Yeah. Now, Charles, why did you join Spectrum National Party?
Yeah, the truth of the matter is, Scott, I joined Spectrum National Party because for the longest time of my life, I can remember the days of my life when I grew up in a house where my father was a super personality, but he was a racist. And I, having been educated rather well, went to very good schools, and I also attended schools even before 1994 where there were black and white people, black and white learners at the school. And one of my best friends was a black man. And that black man taught me and explained to me why he believes that all people are equally created by God. And I came back from, I will never forget this, I was in matric in Randfontein. I came home. My father also had a boxing club at our residence. My father was a mine captain at the mine in Randfontein. And one afternoon I came home from school, and my brother was sparring a black man, and I heard my father telling him, telling my brother to, to damage this black man. But he used swear words.
Yeah.
And I took a broom. I really lost my temper to the extent on that afternoon. I took a broom, I broke the broom over my knee, and I said to my dad, Papi, this is not the way to treat these people. They are paying to be trained, and they are trying to learn the game. They are trying to learn how to box. So I don't. After that afternoon, my father and me had a huge argument, and it went to the extent that I took my clothes and I went to stay with a friend of mine for 7 days, and then I returned home. But what I'm saying is, in inverted commas, is that I grew up in a house where my father was a definite racist, and I hated that. And one day when President Christopher Claasen called me and explained to me the ideology of this party, and explained to me that our party stand for equal race ruling, and the fact is that we also believe that all people are equal, and that South Africa will never come right if we don't get to the point where we understand that we all should live together in harmony. And that was like a song in my ears.
Yeah.
And that is really why I joined the party. And,
Okay.
and since then we had a very good relationship, me and President Claasen, and I'm still feeling like family. I'm still feeling like part of the family.
Fantastic. Now, Christopher, getting back to you, tell me about the footprint of Spectrum National Party across South Africa.
All right. Scott, you know what, and viewers and listeners out there, Spectrum National Party is represented in all 9 provinces. I think we are the only new political party out of all the parties who joined or who regularly. Yeah. Sorry, I just want to put the phone quickly. I think there's a call. Sorry, just 1 second.
Yeah. Okay, while Christopher's doing that, here he is back. Okay, yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Sorry, just the office phone. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So, Scott, we are the only new political party who was registered in 2019 who has a national footprint in all 9 provinces. And we were the only new political party who was part of the bigger parties to contest on. Can you believe this now? Sorry about that.
You'll have to pull a plug. Oh, this is what happens when it's live.
Absolutely.
All right. Now,
Nothing can.
I'm not. I was going to cross back to you, Chris, but I think Christopher's coming. Here we are. Okay. Yeah.
I take the hook off, but you still need to work. Okay, right. So Scott, yeah, we were the only new political party who has been given the opportunity to have more slots on national TV and also more slots on national radio. So any new political party who represented in more than 5 provinces, which means that we have been given the opportunity to get more exposure like any other political parties. And that party Spectrum is so unique. And for a new political party, really, to be in all 9 provinces in such a short period is really telling a lot about our party's ability to South Africa.
Right. Well, I can tell you there's a good turnout in the side chat of SNP supporters. There's quite a few people. I just mentioned a few. And Reginald Sinden says, very good interview. May you go from strength to strength. Black Russian says, good evening, my future president, Mr. Claasen. Ernesto Valentine. It just goes on. Shavesh is something about, I haven't heard of Spectrum National Party. Well, tonight you'll learn about it, Shavesh. And
Sure.
well, this is how you get the word out there. But yeah, there's and Angela Schlambani says, we are watching from Bloemfontein, Chairperson William, SNP. So that's just a few of the people who are in the side chat here. And Peter Basson says, well done, Mr. President. All right. Now, let's get to 2024. We've got the national and the provincial elections coming up. And Christopher, I've got to put this question to you. You're obviously contesting both areas, aren't you?
That's correct, Scott. We're going to contest national and also in all 9 provinces. It's really our aim. It's now all up to our leaders now to really work hard and be committed. We are so excited, Scott. You won't believe it. I could feel the pressure is starting to build up now because a lot of things are currently happening. And as you're going through the agenda tonight, we're going to share with them about the Moonshot Pact and what's currently happening. We're definitely going to contest. And I'm sure Spectrum can just grow stronger and stronger. But once again, Scott, Spectrum can do nothing for South Africans unless we win. And when we do win, we can take South Africa to a first world country. The ANC is now for 30 years now in power. And what have we seen so far? Nothing is working in this country. Nothing. Everything has been handed over by the former apartheid party or the former regime. What do we see? What have we seen change? Has a new city been built yet? We haven't seen anything that is working in this country because why? Some people join political parties for the money, and there is a lot of money in politics. Yes, there's no doubt about it. And there's also a huge opportunity for people to steal. And Spectrum is so unique, and I'm going to say later with the viewers, why is Spectrum so unique, and what are we going to do as a new political party when we get in power? But this 2024 elections can make or break us, can break this country. Or we're going to fall deeper in the hole, or we can say, right, that new time has arrived, that we as all political parties work together in a coalition, think together, plan together, and take South Africa to a first world country. Isn't this your desire? To see that we as a rainbow nation, or we call South Africa a really, really rainbow nation. Can we call it a rainbow nation? No. I don't celebrate Freedom Day because I am not free. South Africans are not free. There are a lot of race groups that are not free. So I believe we will only be free today when we govern this country together, black, brown, Indian, and white, no more affirmative action, and no more BEE. This is what you want. Your children go and study free of charge. Good. There's so lot of great things to happen, and I noticed that South Africans need political education because they don't really understand how this political structure works.
Right. Now, Charles, I guess you would have been a young man in 1994. I'm just looking at you. I don't know how old you are, but I guess I'm the old fart in the room. I'm nearly 70.
I was 34.
You're
1994. 34.
You're 34.
34 in 1994.
Oh, you were 34 in 1994. I was about to say, my gosh,
Yes.
you've aged.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're about 67.
63.
You're 63 now. Okay, so you would have seen South Africa pre-1994 and South Africa post-1994. How has South Africa changed for you when you consider that period leading up to 1994 where, you know, there wasn't a growth industry and potholes on the road, and things were going pretty well. And now, in 2023, potholes are the only growth industry, and you've got tires being burnt on roads and nobody's stopping this sort of stuff. Stones being thrown at vehicles. It's too dangerous to go out at night. You've got Malema singing "Kill the Boer, Kill the Farmer" to an audience of 95,000, and the president says nothing about it. What is happening in South Africa as far as you're concerned, Charles?
Look, I'm seriously thinking, Scott, that the South African nation is a very special elect nation in the eyes of God Almighty. I think there is no other nation on earth who has to face the difficulties that we as people of South Africa have to face in the eyes of our government. The measure of corruption and of anarchy in our country is a disgrace, actually. And if you go to any of our government divisions, like if you just want to go and get a passport, you stand in very, very long queues, and when you get to the person who serves you, you are disrespected. And that is whether you are black, brown, Indian, or white.
Yeah.
You are just disrespected. Those people are in power. They run this country as if this country belongs to them, as if they received from some divine force a message that they will never be dethroned. This is the vision I have of the ANC government. And also there was a day on national TV that President Zuma openly declared that the ANC will rule South Africa until the second coming of Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. This is the especially unfortunately, the black people of South Africa have all been conditioned that they are safe, that they will remain in power forever, and that they are prepared to live under the circumstances that they are living in. Some of them without water, some of them without toilets, some of them without power. I just get the impression in South Africa that they are, next election, all of the black people will still vote for the ANC because they are fearful of any other party coming to power. They don't know what to. When any other party comes into power, they don't know what they can or will expect. With the ANC to the people of South Africa, the majority of the people of South Africa, they are like one big happy family. And they know they have ownership of land, they have ownership of most of the buildings in South Africa, the infrastructure that was left for them on a silver platter. They are busy messing it up to such an extent that the infrastructure of this country will have to be rebuilt again and again while they are in
Charles, I want to say one of the most iconic cartoons I have ever seen touches on a fellow you just spoke about, which is Jacob Zuma. Now, Zuma famously said many years ago that if you've got HIV/AIDS, all you got to do is have a shower. You've got to have a shower. And there's this cartoon where you've got Jacob Zuma's head, and there's a shower head sitting on top of it. It's that to me sums up the ANC. Really does.
Oh, my God.
So, go ahead, Charles.
Yeah, I just want to say this, because this is what I'm being led to say now. And that is that, as a party, the Spectrum National Party, if someone asked me the question, how would you compare yourself to previous dispensations, previous regimes? Then I would say that I have the confidence that the leadership that I am surrounded by are people you can trust, are people who will not steal your money, are people who will not corrupt the tax fees of South Africans. And as people who went through a difficult time, and we are still going through a difficult time, you know what? Spectrum National Party does not receive any funding from national government. We have to fund ourselves, and we had been funding ourselves since 2000 and 2019,
Yeah.
when this party was founded. And really, we are going through such a difficult time. I am proud, honestly, to have a president like President Christopher, well, let's call it candidate president like President Christopher Claasen, because this man is just a superhuman. You know, sometimes 2 o'clock in the morning, I receive a WhatsApp from him, and then he starts chatting with me. But he oftentimes he goes to bed after 1 o'clock in the morning. He's working so hard. I'm just thinking, what is it that we can say to the people of South Africa to influence them, to condition them to vote for us? And then I have to say that, first of all, you have a president you can trust, a president that believes that all people are equal. And you have leaders that surround that president that will secure and manage no corruption, no stealing of money. And you can go on and on. No potholes, better hospitals, better education, maybe a better tax system, etc. I just feel that, you know, we need to get a chance to rule this country because of the caliber of the personalities who are in charge of this party.
Yeah. Now look,
thank you, sir.
Okay, great. Now I want to move on to something very controversial now, and it's something that it's something to do with the 2024 election. And I had a discussion last night with Kenneth Mashu, the leader of the ACDP. And he made it very clear to me that the ACDP are not going anywhere near the Moonshot Pact, because he said that, you know, the association with the DA is something that he could never, ever live with. Now, the way I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, Christopher, but my understanding is that the Moonshot Pact is basically a concept where the smaller political parties buy into this sort of coalition, a loose coalition, and the pact itself is very, very well funded. Now, we know that, and this is something I'll be asking you in a second, Charles, we know that the Democratic Alliance are getting a large amount of funding from Bezos and Amazon. And we know that the DA are very involved with the one world government strategy. That's basically where they see the future. But before we get to the funding the DA get, tell us why Spectrum has bought into the Moonshot Pact, Christopher.
Scott, yeah, very disappointing news that I just heard from you now regarding the ACDP. And I actually called them, their office, because he's a pastor, I'm a pastor, and I think it would be better because they started with us as observers in the pack. I think it was now Thursday night. Tomorrow night will be our 11th meeting with the pack, with all the political parties involved. ACDP was with us there, not Metz himself, but his deputy was present for about 3 meetings with us, and just as an observer and see where we're going to get with the spec. And I called his deputy secretary general in actually the office, and the deputy secretary general called me back, and because I wanted to know, why are you don't attend the meetings anymore? What is the reason? And he said to me, is it they don't want to be affiliated with the spec because why apparently DA leader John Steenhuisen said that the ANC and the EFF are the PAC's enemies. And they as a party are now scared to work with the spec now. Because when the ACDP workers are going to work in the communities, try to get votes, then the EFF and the ANC members will see now this ACDP members as an enemy, and because we said they are enemies. And that's why they don't want to be affiliated with the spec. But, Scott, it's going to be a suicidal decision they have made. Suicidal. There's only 2 parties who can take us over the 50% mark. It's the ANC or the DA. There's no other political parties on their own. Even if all political parties come together, we will not be enough to beat the ANC. It's not going to work. That's why we need a stronger party that is the DA. So if any political party is not going to support the DA, am I a fan of a DA? No, because I see exactly what is happening in the DA municipalities is also happening in the ANC municipalities. So for me personally, as a party leader, I don't see the difference between the two parties. Maybe, okay, the Western Cape is run much more better than within the ANC municipalities. But what I'm saying, Scott, is that if any political party are not going to join the spec, they are going to be the cause why we can't win the ANC, and they are going to be the cause why this country will suffer again for another 5 years. So over 5 years, post office is gone. The next 5 years, there will be no SAA. Next 5 years, there's probably no ESCOM. So who's going to be to blame for that? It is then the political parties who is not going to join us. And that makes me really worried. I've put my differences aside, or Spectrum has put our differences aside and said, okay, because we're not in favor with the DA, let us put their differences aside now. Let us come together as a pack, stand together, come to an agreement together, and not badmouth one another, whoever is in the pack. Because if we in the pack is going to badmouth one another, and this is the message we're getting over to the community on social media, then how come do you talk bad about your pack members of the pack leaders, and if you're part of the pack, which means that there's no unity amongst the pack. So Spectrum has committed ourselves, whoever is part of the pack, we will not in any of our videos or any on social media talk bad about the pack leaders or political parties as part of the pack, because we want to show South Africans we are one here. And what makes this pack so unique is, Scott, people don't want to work with the DA because of previous relationships that they had. And there's probably a reasons, and I don't know personally what are the reasons why they don't want to work the pack with the DA. And all I can tell you, since I joined this pack, or Spectrum joined this pack, I see there's no political parties in charge here. There's no political party is dominating here. No political party make the final decision here. In the beginning, we started, every political party in the spec, Scott, was given an opportunity to be the chairperson. We started with John Steenhuisen because he was the person who was initiating this coalition, because I think if all the parties joined the spec, obviously then we can beat the ANC with more than 50%. After the ANC, after the DA, then it was the Inkatha Freedom Front president. He was chairing, and thereafter everybody was getting opportunity. I was also chairing the last, because I was last on the list of the 6 parties. And I can tell you, there is no political party in control here. When we make a decision, no political party make a decision. John Steenhuisen make it also very, very clear. PAC leaders doesn't mean that the DA has the majority of supporters or votes, means that he must be the president when the PACs win. Anybody can be the president 2024 when the PAC win. Even myself can be the president or the deputy president. So I want to really get this message out to the people who are confused, who's spreading wrong information about the PAC. There's no unity, the DA control. DA is not controlling. And like I said, John Steenhuisen said it out of his mouth, doesn't mean that they are the biggest party, that he must be the president of this country should the PAC win. So there's a lot of confusion out there. And I'm not talking about hearsay. I am personally and physically, I am involved in every meeting, and there's Charles Peter, the deputy president. He knows it. And do we disagree with one another? Yes. This is normal. Even party leaders in their own party, they disagree with one another. So there's nothing wrong to disagree. And we also disagree with one another at certain things, in certain points, but we come to an agreement before the meeting is finished. And that makes this PAC so unique. I've also approached other political party leaders as well. Tomorrow I'm meeting with the deputy president of Chief Justice Mogang. I'm meeting with his deputy president tomorrow in Cape Town, just to ask them and explain to them really whatever information you received about the PAC, this is not this, and this is the correct information. And then I also would like them to come on board as well, because we want all political parties to come on board, and hopefully also independents. We want also people whoever you are, and you are part of a group like this. There's 1 million. There is Justice for Farmers. We want these people to come on board because we need votes now, Scott. We need to get over 50%. And EFF is so confused. You don't know where you stand with EFF. They say they're going to be with the ANC in the coalition. And at one moment, they're carrying a coffin at the 10th year anniversary. They were carrying a coffin of the ANC. It's the end of the ANC. But, Scott, everybody's scared to work with the EFF. There's no manners. There's no order. There's no respect. There's no unity. They are racist. nobody want to work with them because of the attitude. How much the PAC needs Julius Malema and the EFF team to come and join us. We just think it's going to be a suicidal approach asking them to come and join us. So we are very careful with who do we work with. Patriotic Alliance, Good Party, because Good Party is the minister of the ANC. We cannot trust them until they're really going to tell us they are really serious. They want to come and join the PAC. They're not coming to dictate here. That is why, Scott, this is going to be suicidal if a political party don't join us. So they got two choices now: or they join the ANC, because the ANC is also busy with the coalition or with the Moonshot PAC. We are busy with it, and I think there's another party of a team of smaller parties also who want to start a PAC. So if you cannot be part of the two PACs, you will never stand a chance. No political party will stand a chance to win it. We can vote, and they can vote, and they can vote, but it's only going to be between ANC and the DA coalition PACs that will take South Africa to victory. But you say with the ANC, we are not going to victory. We are living in poverty. But with the DA and the party coalition PAC, we can take South Africa to victory, to prosperity. That's what we want to do.
I tell you what my problem is, Christopher. My problem with the Democratic Alliance, and this comes back to a word that you used just a moment ago. That is the word trust. Trust. Now, there's an old saying that a leopard doesn't change its spots. I'm sure you're familiar with that. Now, John Steenhuisen, a few years ago now, slept with his best friend's wife. And that, to me, reflects some flaw in his personality that he would do that. If he can sleep with his best friend's wife, he can turn his back on anything he's promised to do to you. Trust is pivotal, especially in politics, and I wouldn't trust that guy as far as you could throw him.
I hear you, Scott. I hear you. Okay, I always say it is an individual. If we are not going to come together, and what I said earlier on, John Steenhuisen is not going to be in charge of the SPEC. We're going to meet the 15th and the 16th. We're going to meet in Johannesburg, where all these coalition parties are going to come together, where we're going to sign documentation and come to an agreement. Like I say, once again, it's not going to be about John Steenhuisen. It's not going to be about the DA or Spectrum. Scott, and what you're saying is, yes, how do you trust a party like that? But all what I can say, it will be also the end of the DA as well, when they really want to come up with funny ideas or funny negotiations with whoever. But Scott, as the ANC is in trouble, so is the DA in trouble. Remember, DA is standing on 57% in the Western Cape. So DA is just in trouble as the ANC. And I think this PAC can save the DA, because the DA wouldn't be alone now in power in the Western Cape, but all these political parties who's in the PAC will then run together the Western Cape. But our aim is really not to do it in the Western Cape alone. Our aim is to take it from province to province and eventually win also this national. Even if we don't win this elections with a 50% majority of the votes, we're still going to continue building. It's what we really want to do. But, well, I've met John personally. You know what? Everybody got our weaknesses. I got my weaknesses, and so do all of us got our weaknesses. And you know what? We are public figures, and we need to be so careful what we do out there in the public. You understand? People are watching you. People, they're checking out your phones. They're checking your location where you are. And I think I always want to encourage always my leaders as well. Please, leaders, please be careful where you walk, what you do, because why people watching you all the time. And you know what? I think maybe if it is the case what happened with John, you know what? Sometimes we try it once, and we try it the second time, and the third time you get caught, and then you are really in trouble. So yeah, Scott, let's see. We can just give it a try, Scott. All we can say is let's give it a go. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But there need to be an attempt to remove the ANC from power.
All right. Well, look, I'll give you another couple of examples of why I don't trust the Democratic Alliance to do what they will say to you when they want something. And did you know that Helen Zille is the chairperson in South Africa of the Open Society Foundation run by George Soros?
No, I'm not aware of that, Scott.
Well, she is. That's Helen Zille, and we know what her role is in the Democratic Alliance. And did you know, for example, that Alan Wind, who's the top honcho in the Western Cape for the Democratic Alliance, after they got a huge amount of cash from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, tried to make it compulsory for children in schools in the Western Cape to have this, I don't want to call it a vaccine, I'll call it a genetically modifying drug. Charles, over to you. What do you want to say?
Yes, Scott, I just want to comment on all these matters with the DA. I want to say I couldn't care, and I think Mr. President Christopher Claasen will agree with me. I couldn't care if the John Steenhuisen is the head of a brothel in the Western Cape or wherever, and if he's a triple six figure, I couldn't care. I believe that the plan that they came up with is going to work for the parties that are part of this plan. And this plan is simply that a lot of the political powerhouses in South Africa come together in a multi-party accord or coalition. And when we go into the election, there won't be a coalition before the elections. It is impossible. Coalitions happen after an election.
Exactly.
So what we all will be doing at the convention that's on the 16th and 17th of August is we will discuss what happens when the pact wins. What then? What will happen there? And really, if all parties are expected to campaign as usual, and I had a discussion on a Spectrum National Party meeting last night with the leadership and with Christopher. And I said there that we must not aim to do a good contribution and to get as many votes as possible so that we can stand a chance to win seats as part of the pact. I said that we must try and win the 2024 national elections. It is not impossible. The only thing that's going to stop us from doing that is the big thing that I fear, and I believe still to this day, that the biggest problem in South African politics, and believe me, the world must listen to this. The biggest problem in South African politics is the fraudulent and corrupt relationship between the ANC and the people who are supposed to count the votes, the IEC. The IEC is on the payroll of the ANC. And I have the unfortunate experience of a leader while I was acting in 2021 as the candidate mayor for Pretoria. I had a leader with the name of Elizabeth Kambule, and I want to share this with you now because this will explain to you and to the rest of the world the big problem we have in South Africa when it comes to elections. And this leader, Elizabeth Kambule, was a ward candidate in Soshanguve in Pretoria. It's a huge, big black settlement with about under correction, about 3 million residents. And on that particular day, now I think it's I cannot say 3 million. I'm not sure. Let me not state figures here. But what I can say is that at about 10:30 on the night of the election, Elizabeth Kambule, or leader Elizabeth Kambule, called me and said to me, "Mr. Mayor, I am so excited. I have been at the voting station all day, and me and 2 others," she mentioned their names, I can't remember their names, "and we witnessed at least 5,000 people voted for me in this election. I saw them and I spoke to them, etc. We're going to have a party," and she was jubilant. "We're going to have a party all through the night." And she actually invited me, "You can come over. We are going to win that ward." I said to Leader Elizabeth, "I will not be able to make it, but really enjoy yourself and congratulations." God bless you. Right? 3 days later, on internet, the results was published. And that ward there were 11 votes for the Spectrum National Party. She witnessed more than 5,000 people voting for her, but there was 11 votes. And that happened all over South Africa. And that's my only concern with even the 2024 national elections. What has been done?
Yeah.
And what can be done? What has been done to perhaps stop that fraud, that corruption?
Well, I remember.
You know, we work so hard as political leaders. We work so hard as political leaders.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we sit and we cry because the ANC won it again.
I remember that.
You see what I'm...
Yeah, I do. I remember at the last elections, there were boxes full of votes which were thrown out into the bush.
Yes.
And, you know, there was clearly something very sus going on.
Probably dumping grounds. Yes, I remember that clearly.
Yeah. Now, Christopher, I've got a question here for you from the side chat. And Toklosh has said, please ask if UDM and Bantu Holomisa is part of the moonlighting thing.
No, they are not. Scott, we are still sending out letters to all the other political parties. You know, I explained to the viewers quickly, because this spec is very, very new. And if something is going to happen with this spec, what's going to happen? People are going to lose trust in this party, in their party, if they don't do it. That's one reason. Number two is there's still political parties who's waiting for 2024. They are going to be neutral and see which coalition of Moonshot Pack is going to need our votes. You understand what's going to happen now? If, for example, Spectrum say, we are not going to be part of any coalitions now, or be in any agreement, or with any pack right now, we stay neutral. Say we get to 2024 and the ANC got 49% of the votes and DA got 40% of the votes. Then they need a kingmaker. Then Spectrum will say, wow, we got 11% of the votes. Then we can decide which pack are we going to join, or which coalition party we are going to join. But when we do join, we're going to come up with conditions. Christopher Claasen, okay, ANC, if you want our votes to take you over the 50% mark, then Spectrum is a party president want to be the president of this country. Or we're going to do the same with the DA. That is what a lot of political parties are doing. And they're waiting until the day of election. Like Deputy President Charles Venter said early on, there is no coalition form now. We are just coming to an agreement and prepare ourselves. Should this pack that we are in win, we know who's going to be filling what position. We haven't decided yet who's going to be the president. Everything will be discussed in next week or 2 weeks, a convention in Johannesburg. Then we're going to discuss who will be the president, who will be the ministers, and how will the cabinet look like. The discussions will take place over 2 weeks in Johannesburg with this pack where the SNP, DA, Freedom Front Plus, UIM, NFP, and XNS is in. The discussions will take place. But there are few who's just watching it, feeling the waters. I don't want to work with the DA. I don't like the attitude. Or I don't want to work with the Freedom Front. I had previous experience with them. But I'll say once again, Scott, for the sake of South Africans, we need to join the spec where the DA and all the other parties are involved. Otherwise, we're committing suicide again, and we're going to suffer again for another 5 years. That is why we joined the pack, to save South Africa, to fix South Africa. And like I said earlier on, it's not going to be a DA ruling pack here. All political parties have equal rights, equal opportunities. We all have the same. When the question is asked, what is Spectrum's 10-point plan? So is the other parties also going to give their 10-point plan, what we think how South Africa should be fixed. That is what we're currently doing now, Scott. So, yes, I don't know what the other parties are going to do, Scott. I really don't know. But they are still welcome probably to join us when we need their votes to take us over the 50%. So if they want to stay neutral, it's fine. We will make a final decision on the day of elections when we see. If our pack don't get enough votes to take us over the 50%, but we need maybe about 20% or 5% or 10%, then we will approach other political parties as well to come and join us and take us over the 50%, and then we'll make agreements. Say if I'm not going to be the president of the SPAC, or when we win 2024, I might become the minister of safety and security. This is my strength. This is or I will probably be in housing or development, because why Spectrum has the ability to take South Africa to a modern first world country. That is what Spectrum has got in mind for South Africa. So all political parties has got their ideas, Scott. So all of the Telugu viewers out there, we have no option to work with the DA and with the other political parties. We want to save you. We want to fix South Africa so that you can live in peace and harmony, so that you can prosper in this country. It's all what I can say as a president, leader, or Spectrum National Party to change your life.
Well, Christopher, I we don't often disagree, but I do have to be honest with you and say that I disagree. I think that when you get in bed with dogs, you wake up with fleas. And, you know, the Democratic Alliance, let's face it, are not the sort of party that I think a Christian party would want to be associated with. And this is why I'm surprised. I understand that you say in the ACDP are stupid not to be part of the pack. I get that. But I'm more surprised that you aren't forming a coalition, perhaps even after the election, with the ACDP, because you're both, your central core is Christian values. And clearly, parties like the Democratic Alliance, that's the last thing on their radar. So you're actually forming an alliance with a party that is actually quite evil. And that to me is problematic. Back to you.
Scott, yes, definitely. We had this talk with many times in our party as well. And I always tell the viewers, we need to understand that Africa is very diverse in culture. We need to understand that a political party should never favor any culture, any religion. A political party should always be neutral, serving South African citizens in its country, whether it's any country in the world. And now ICTP is probably against it because while the DA supports the gays and lesbians, I think they're also against it. But Scott, just imagine, I'm a pastor. And I think God's favor and grace is over all people in the world, whether you're Buddhism, Christian, Muslim, doesn't matter what culture you is or culture you are. So all we're saying as a Spectrum party is, are we going to serve Christians? Yes, no problem. We can have a party like that, like ACDP. I think there's more political parties who's only strictly Christian. Or should that party get in power? So we spend all the other cultural groups of the religions will be pushed aside and say, oh, I'm sorry, there is no place for you in South Africa here. Because why? You believe in the other God and we believe in God, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. If we're going to move to that direction, then this country will be in a much bigger mess than it is currently right now. What we're saying is, we are here to serve South African citizens. That is what we're really standing for. Irrespective, God is going to be the judge one day, whether you're gay or lesbian, or Rastafarian, or Buddhism, or doesn't matter, or Muslim, doesn't matter. My job as a political party leader is to make sure that you have a job, that there's service delivery, that you go to education, that you don't sleep on the street. Political parties has got a responsibility. And once you become a South African citizen, you fall under the same constitution, the rules in the constitution, the benefits of the constitution, irrespective of what cultural group, what gender, what religion they belong to. That is why, so I always say, South Africans need political guidance. Because people think, okay, you're going to vote for this party, this is how it should be. I'm a Christian, I'm a pastor, am I against gays and lesbians? Yes, I am against. I don't believe their practice. But because it's African citizens, we need to say hello. We need to start.
Christopher, yes, let me give you an example. You can join the dots, okay? Helen Zilli, association with the Open Society Foundation. Open Society Foundation run by George Soros, who is pushing for the breakdown of the family unit. You just have to look at the chaos they've created in Europe, what they're doing in the USA, and in the Western Cape. The Democratic Alliance are pushing this comprehensive sexual or sexuality education into schools. This is children as young as 6 years old. Now, this has been pushed by the DA in the Western Cape. Okay, that's teaching kids as young as 6 years old that if you feel like you might be a girl when you're a boy, then you probably are a girl in a boy's body. And then they're pushing things like puberty blockers, guys becoming girls, and I mean, it's the most disgusting thing. And that's what I'm talking about. When you go to bed with dogs, you wake up with fleas, because that is not a Christian thing. And this is what worries me about this pact, is that you're actually compromising your values by being associated with parties whose moral compass does not exist. I'll let you answer that, then I'm going to go straight to Charles. Back to you.
Right. Yeah, Scott, definitely against it. I believe that children, boys and girls, can share one toilet. I think if only the law is approved now, prostitution will become legal. This is totally nonsense. It's rubbish. You understand? And it is how much I do understand that South Africans, they have the right of freedom, the right of speech, they have the right of religion. This is understandable. Then we must also make a law and say that you can have intercourse with animals. You understand? There's times, Scott, when we need to put our
sorry,
down.
I've got to just respond to that. There's I think it's Denmark, where you can actually marry your dog. I'm serious. You can marry your dog. It's crazy. Yeah, back to you. Go ahead.
Yeah, understand, Scott. The certain thing we can say enough is that, because if people feels that it is my right, it's how I believe, then because I'm South African citizen, I have the right to believe what I would believe. Yes, that's fine. That is fair. Pastors that giving people grasshoppers and doom and all this nonsense. Scott, there's a fine line for a lot of things there. And I'm sure even if DA pushing it, remember once again, this is not a DA coalition. This is going to be a multi-party coalition. Spectrum can't push our agendas here. We together is going to decide. And that's why I always believe, Scott, we need public participation. Because why we cannot, a political party is just a manager or an agent acting on behalf of the citizens of South Africa. And we need to listen from our people. What do you want? But like I say, there's a fine line. For example, let's take gays and lesbians. They wake up maybe one day and decided, oh, I feel that I've got more, what is the hormones they've got, and then they feel more like a
testosterone.
woman.
Testosterone.
Yes, and they feel, it is the season that person is made, Scott. That is why I believe in early childhood development. My boy is 12 years old, and what I'm doing with him is I print it in his mind and I develop him and say, my son, how many children do you want to have one day? So he knows a father can only have children from a wife.
Yeah.
I'm asking the question is, how do you want your wife to be one day? What type of wife do you want? So you said we need to start this thing with an early age. And what parents are doing, they encourage their kids to walk here with high heels and all this nonsense. So kids need to be trained these things, Scott, from a very, very young age. But I put my, people ask me about abortion. Another problem. Somebody joined us from, what's his country's name now? Also overseas countries. She's South African, but she got married with a guy in another country. And she said and she asked me about abortion. She said, well, why don't your party don't allow abortion? I said to her, because why should we kill an innocent baby?
Yeah.
She said, I'm sorry, then I'm done with your party. I don't want to be part of your party because you believe you don't want to allow people to have an abortion. I said, why should we kill an innocent child? There's 8 weeks when the sperms, when the cells mix and it becomes it's called an embryo, and after the 8th week it becomes a fetus.
Yeah.
And that embryo is out of a fetus until the child is born. So if you know you've been raped, why did you go to the doctor? If you know you're pregnant, why did you go? Because 8 weeks. So Scott, I say that as a pastor, I am not willing to make sure that Spectrum is going to pass a policy where we say that we are going to allow abortion, because we are copycats. And Africans want to become copycats like other countries where they allow these things so that people can get votes. And political parties like to do these things to do what? To get votes, Scott. Because why? How many gays and lesbians are there? There are hundreds of thousands of them. And if we're not going to allow them in our party, it might be the end of our party. So, Scott, we have our values and we believe that we're going to stick to that. But we are not just here for any Tom, Dick, and Harry to come and say, we want S&P to take care of me. I want S&P to believe that I can marry a dog, or I can marry an animal, or I can marry my daughter. There are certain rules that we cannot allow. Scott, how great is the demand for that? We cannot tolerate it or accept any people coming up with this funny, stupid, silly proposals.
Right. Well, look, I just want to just make a point that in California, which is probably the most evil state in the world today, you can have an abortion after you've given birth. So you've given birth to the baby, and you can say to the doctor, I don't want this baby, and they will kill it.
Sure.
That is in California. And
Yeah.
this is how sick it has become. Where do you draw the line? Now, I'm going to go to Charles.
Sure.
Charles, you were wanting to say something. Please, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Scott. And what I have to say now, I hope the president won't fire me after this. Look, seriously, me and both me and Christopher arrived here tonight uninformed with regards to these connections and this evil doings of the DA and the connection with the New World Order and activities surrounding that, etc., etc. But me and my family, we serve God, and I am a son of God. I am an apostle, and I have a church that God gave me, and I'm the apostle of my church. And if it is true what you say, that John Steenhuisen is involved with the New World Order and he is advancing the idea, I'm out of the pact. I'm actually out of the pact, and if our Spectrum National Party is also not out of the pact, I'm out of Spectrum National Party also. Because I cannot associate myself with people who are evil, who are supporting the 666 movement. This is what it is. And it's a massive thing. It's a big thing. Many millions of people were injected, and many, many millions of people are suffering from those injections.
Yeah.
All of that has to do with this New World Order and in their attempts to try and control the numbers of people living on this earth. And anyone supporting that, I will not go into a coalition or into any partnership with anyone like that. So the question I have now for you, Scott, is how true is this, what these things that you state now tonight? This is so important for me and for my family, and I believe for the Spectrum National Party. If you make accusations like that, how true is this, sir? Thank you.
It's absolutely true. The Democratic Alliance are very tied up with the policy of a one world government. Very tied up with that. And you just have to look at their funding. They've got millions of rands from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation as a donation last year. They're bankrolled, I believe, by Bezos from Amazon. He's very involved with the World Economic Forum and the One World Government. You've just got to follow the dots. And if you go to Google and have a look around, do a search on this very subject, and there you will find the truth, and the truth will set you free. Christopher, you might want to respond to what Charles has just said.
Yeah. No, actually, Scott, you know what? I'm going to say it again, and I said it a few times earlier on. The DA cannot do as they please in this spec, even when we get in power. This is not going to happen. There's going to be rules, and then rules will be set by all the political parties involved there. You understand? So that's going to make us, I don't see any reason why the DA should rule or should be in charge or dictate this spec. It's been proven now. We've got a technical committee working from all political parties, one representative from every political party. It is part of the technical committee who makes sure the documents are drafted. It is sent to us. So people still doubt that this coalition can work. But all I can see, let us give it a go. We've got nothing to lose. All we can say, it can just go better. But no party will be controlling and say, we demand to be part of the world order system. We demand that gays and lesbians should first get police, or whatever it can be. We demand that there should be abortion. Scott, our Spectrum will withdraw ourselves from the spec. Should we even get in power, and this is the type of things that will take place. That's my honest opinion, I can say. And I think one of the other party leaders also make things very clear that don't think that we are a small party, that we are run-overs. We are not a run-over political party. In the spec, we are all equal, and that makes the spec very unique. We need to give it a go, Scott. We need to give it a try. If it doesn't work out, maybe there's other previous experiences with the DA. I don't know what were the experiences. Were the DA dictating, or what was the case? But I say, for the sake of South African citizens, now to remove the ANC from power is to join the spec and see what we can do and take South Africa to the next level.
Well, I can just make one comment, and that is that with this pact, the DA dog will never let the tail wag it. And I think you know what I'm saying. In other words, if they get the coalition, they get in, I don't think they'll be listening too much to what you say, because they'll have got what they wanted. That's my perspective on that. Anyway, let's move on from that. How many parties are in the pact? You've mentioned the Freedom Front Plus, which I'm really surprised about. The Democratic Alliance, obviously Spectrum. Who else is involved in this pact?
It is the UIM, Neil de Beer. Also, the NFP, the New Freedom Party, is also involved with it as well. This is the only 6 parties involved currently in X and SA.
Right.
So it's, again, Spectrum National Party, the Democratic Alliance, the Freedom Front, the UIM, X and SA, and the NFP. Right. These are parties who's currently involved in this spec at this moment. And there are more parties going to join us, hopefully very, very soon, because a lot of parties never heard about this coalition pact we have. And also there's going to be a lot of new political parties who's also going to be registered as we're moving closer to the elections. And they are more than welcome to join the spec as well. So the more we are, the greater is the chance to get us over the 50%. Our biggest worry is if the ANC, EFF is going to go in a coalition with the ANC, they might take the ANC over the 50%. Then this country will lead to a civil war, because while Julius Malema will demand to be the president of this country when the ANC need their vote. And that is very scary to know, Scott. Yeah. Then then there's going to be blood's going to flow in this country, because Julius Malema has no way to talk. He's racist, and he's always, I don't know why, he's not messing with the colored people. I want Julius to mess with the colored people, Scott. Let him mess with the colored people. Julius will not put his foot in national parliament. That's what will happen with Julius Malema. Because colored people are just the other kind of race that doesn't take nonsense like people like him. He knows he can fight the white people. By now, a political party leader can never be against any cultural group or race group, Scott. It's not fair. In the church, a pastor must be neutral and fair with all the church members. And so the president of this country. So all I'm saying is, blood is going to flow. This is the last thing we want to see take place here. And there's a lot of whites preparing themselves already for war, for a civil war. It's the last thing that we want. But when Julius Malema takes over from the ANC and take over as the president, there's going to be blood.
Yeah, I just want to go back. I just want to go back to Charles, and before I do, I just want to say, Charles, that there are quite a few people in the side chat who agree with you regarding this pact. Just so you're aware of that. You know, there's you've got quite a bit of support there. What were you wanting to say, Charles?
I just want to reiterate and state that honestly, the President, Christopher, won't be very happy with what he's hearing here, but I was so surprised by this information that you shared with me. I'm going to work until 1 o'clock this morning. I'm going to find out if the DA is in any way involved with this new world order, and if so, I am out of the pact. And if the president wants me, refuses to take SNP out of the pact, I'm also out of SNP. I'm fixed on that. That is a fixed decision. If the DA is involved in the new world order, I will not go to bed with a party who is involved with the new world order. I will not. I'm sorry. I will not do that.
Well, I admire you. You're a man of principle, and that's very good. Um, okay, so just continuing with the pack side, Christopher. Um, what is the plan after 2024?
Right, Scott, what's going to happen, right? Like say, when the PEC don't win, I'm sure the political parties who is involved in the spec will still continue building a relationship. Because after 2024, we have another elections. They call it the local elections or the municipality elections. There's quite a lot of coalitions that took place in the 21 local elections. A lot of political parties got involved in that's what's going to happen. So this spec will then continue building a relationship. So we will also be strong enough to compete against the ANC, who's also the ruling party in a lot of municipalities in South Africa. And thereafter, we will continue building the relationship and grow towards the 29 national elections as well. So I believe if things go very, very well now, in this period while we are forming a coalition or at the later stage, we would like to continue and growing and developing one another and come up with really that solution that can take South Africans forward. Well, we all of us are going to be happy with everything, but we as political parties will really come up with the best solution to make sure that South Africans are taken well care of. This is what we are here for. We're not here to destroy people and keep them in poverty to suffer. Political parties are here to change people's lives because we are a manager for you. And if we cannot perform, the voters have a democratic right and don't vote for you anymore. How do we get rid of a party who don't perform, who don't take care of my need? Don't vote for that party anymore. That is as simple as it is. But the majority, 80% of our black race group in this country, remember South Africans, those who don't know it, 80% of this country consists of blacks. 8% brown and 8% white, and the others is just Asian. So just imagine, this is a huge amount of blacks who can decide which party should take this country to, or which party should vote for, or which are we going to go left or right. The black South Africans, and I think Scott is so unfair, they should come up with a new plan. Because why? If the blacks feel today that, or they all come together, they all them decide, let us keep the ANC in power forever. And let us suffer forever. I personally think that there should be another ratio when it comes to votes, and not specifically the amount of South African citizens. But they say, well, South Africans choose which party should govern. But with 80% of this country's population, they can always win forever. If they decide they want to go left, they're going to go left. No matter what the other, 16, 20% of this country say. So that is an unfair contesting in elections, and we need to look at that, or that system that they currently have in place. And like, you know what, ANC is ANC, because ANC is governing all departments, governmental departments in South Africa.
Right, I think we just lost Christopher for a second there. He's back. Sorry, Christopher, we lost you there for a second.
So they can make any rule in this country, whether we like it or not. Once they want to apply a new role or implement a new role in this country or pass a new law, they take it to Parliament, and it's the debate, and then it's a vote. And after the vote, the party with the most votes automatically wins, and that law is passed. It will be placed in Government Gazette, in the legal department, and then there the law is passed. So, Scott, this voting system, it's not working, especially with a country with so many race groups. It is much more than the other race groups combined.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, guys, we've been talking for well over an hour, so I'm going to wrap up this live stream in the next 15 minutes. But what I'd like to do is just, first off, Christopher, look, I admire the SNP. I think you guys are doing some great work, and that's why I'm happy to wear an SNP shirt.
Thank you, Scott.
You know my concern with this pact. I don't have to go through that again. I really think you should be reaching out to the ACDP if, for example, for some reason you decide to leave the pact, because you are both with Christian values. And I think that in itself, I think about 80% of the population of South Africa is Christian. Now,
absolutely,
if all the Christian parties form their own pact as a group and push that message that South Africa is being taken to a satanic playground by these other people, whether it's the DA, the EFF, and the ANC, because they're all basically evil parties, if I can put it that way. If you had this Christian coalition which went forward in 2024 and appealed to that 80% of Christians, I think you'd be very surprised as a turnout. I think you'd have a tremendous amount of people voting for you. I really do. And I think that way, you know, you wouldn't have compromised your values by being involved with these other parties. Yeah, Charles, you wanted to say something?
No, I just I'll give you a thumbs up. I agree with what you are saying, sir.
Okay. Now, look, Christopher, how can people contact SNP if they want to become members of the party? What's the best way of actually making contact with you?
Yeah. Scott, they can contact us, or no, they can WhatsApp us if they have a pen available on 072 493 6865. I repeat, 072 493 6865. That is our WhatsApp number. And they can also contact us via email. The email address is our Secretary General. So the email address is secretarygeneral@spectrumnationalparty.co.za. And if anybody would like to join Spectrum as a leader in their municipality, because we still have a lot of positions available in South Africa, they can also contact us to notify us, and they can also join as a member on our website. It is www.spectrumnationalparty.co.za. Because while we need to fill all the 215 municipalities in South Africa, Scott, we only have time till the end of September. That is our plan. That is our deadline. And once we can achieve that, then we are extending a must. Spectrum can win South Africa without any other political party coalition.
Right.
It's possible. The plan is there. Now that because we have so many leaders in our party, Scott, has never been affiliated with political parties before. So Spectrum National Party is starting really fresh from scratch. And what we're trying to achieve is here, because when old politicians come and join, they come and join us with their old corrupt way of doing things. Spectrum starts completely fresh, new. I'm a new politician, 4 years in politics. We start fresh. We don't have that corrupt mindset. So I'm actually really encouraging South Africans who's never been involved in politics to come and join Spectrum so that we can together change this country. What people have also discovered is from a lot of people that they expect too much from us as a party. They call him in the middle of the night, President, somebody just passed on now. Can't Spectrum as a party please give us a carpet because there's no carpets in the house? They're demanding food. They're demanding I must help them with business funding. And South Africans need to understand, we haven't got any seats at this moment. There's no money coming on. And when we do give money to people, I do it myself, or the leaders of SNP individually assist people wherever they can. So please, I want to encourage really every South African citizen, please don't put the pressure on us now. We need you to help us. And when we get in power, then together we can change this country. We will fix it, but we cannot fix it if you keep on voting for the same political party. We have no values, cannot change your life. It is what we stand for and we really want to achieve, Scott.
All right. Now, Therese Rademacher has said, I agree with Scott as well. The SNP should consider forming a coalition with the ACDP. Please, President Christopher, consider the coalition with the ACDP. I'm just giving you feedback from the side chat. Yeah, look, I've made my point, so I'm not going to make it again. Guys, I'm going to wrap up this live stream, and Christopher, I'll put those contact details below this video so people have got your website address and they've got your WhatsApp so that they can contact you direct or contact the party. Just in wrapping up, Charles, I'll go to you first. Is there something you'd like to say just in wrapping up this live stream?
Yes, look, I want to state, Scott, that we must give people of South Africa a reason to vote for the Spectrum National Party. And, you know, the only reason I can, well, there are many reasons I can think of in just in a situation like this. I would just say that, you know, honestly, the whole thing is about trustworthiness.
Exactly.
That you have a party here with leaders that you can trust. Leaders with a Christian base.
Yep.
Leaders who will manage no corruption. Leaders who will manage no stealing of your money. And who will manage the local municipalities properly. In South Africa, there's so much problems with local municipalities. Most of them, I am serious when I say more than 70% of local municipalities in South Africa are bankrupt. They don't have money. Where did all the money go to? We all know where the money went to.
Yeah.
But that is such chaos, that you cannot trust the people who govern locally, because there is no control from the national government side. The national government just feed these people with money because they know they're going to steal most of the money that is left anyway. This is South Africa. It is crazy, but this is South Africa, and the people need a party who can guarantee no more stealing, no more corruption, bring Christianity and bring a proper belief system back to the people of South Africa. I know there is many religions in South Africa because there are many different race groups, many different nationalities in South Africa. Have respect for each denomination, but do not part with Christ, with the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. That is the problem in South Africa. The current government has nothing to do and don't want anything to do with the God of Israel. And unfortunately, that is the reason why South Africans are suffering the way we do. We need a government who can bring back the power of the God of Israel, the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. That is what we need to do. Thank you, sir.
Right. Christopher, you have the last word.
Yeah, thank you very much, Scott, and thank you for everybody who's really took time off to listen to us. Spectrum is a new party. We can become the ruling party of this country. We can change your life. We can change the future of your children. We have a first world country solution. We have smart city solution for this country, but we cannot do it. This future of this country is in the hands of the voters. But what we can say from now from you is we will do anything in our power to save this country, to fix this country. And this is why we joined the SPEC. If things don't go out well, unfortunately, it didn't work. But like the viewer said early on, why don't we just join forces with the SDP? Or Scott also said, Scott, we will do anything in our power. But when Spectrum wins with more than 50% of the votes, then this coalition pack is not applicable. So whichever party wins with a majority, then we won't be part of it. And that is why we're pushing to beat or get over the 50% mark. If we don't get it, remember, South Africans, we're going to suffer for another 5 years under the ruling of the ANC government. We cannot tolerate this. We cannot allow it. Once again, the power is in your hand. If you never voted before, please make sure that you vote this time. Encourage your family and friends to vote this time. Go and check also my TikTok videos out there. Please reply, join it, follow me. I try to make as many videos as possible. Please check our YouTube. Check it out. Because why? We are really serious. If you've heard about a country called Mondragon, Mondragon is a sustainable country of a city where nobody is unemployed, where all the workers has become shareholders of a company. We want to get rid of this Kentucky's, where one owner is owning this Kentucky's in the KFC's, the Burger Kings and the McDonald's. The workers of that shop, of that restaurant, should become shareholders and owners. We call this a cooperative. The people earn from 5,000 to 15,000 a month and more. Spectrum feels that you should not pay for any education up to tertiary level. Your child can go and study for a lawyer free of charge. We're going to work on the taxes that we overpay, that we're paying so much to government and it's stolen. We're looking for sustainable solutions. Spectrum will do an assessment. I'm an expert. I got a security company, and I've been in the security industry now for 28 years. My job as an area manager was to do risk assessment. We will go through every sector of every department in this country, and we will look at the problem, the root of the problem, why certain things are happening in this country. Gangsterism, drugs, prostitution, gays and lesbians, whatever causes all this, we will go deeper and we will get the experts on board to help us. No political party are the experts. Even if they have a few advisors, only the experts will tell us the truth, why certain things happen, because they've studied. Scott, I want to encourage really everybody out there. This is another opportunity for us to choose which way this country can go to. So come and support Spectrum. Help us, join us, fund us. If you can fund us, please fund us, because we need funding. We need to register. We need to contest in this election. It costs us 605,000 just to register. It's 200,000 to register nationally to contest. It is 45,000 per province. If there's any millionaires and billionaires out there, please, you're more than welcome to contact us and fund us. So that's going to help us really get our name out there, because there's many people who never heard about Spectrum. And Scott, I can honestly tell in all the viewers, whoever I approach and tell them about Spectrum, they love the idea that 4 races should govern this country together, equally, 25% black, 25% brown, 25% Indian, 25% white should govern it in all departments. This thing of being in affirmative action should be of the past. We are not supporting this idea that only certain race should govern, because of the black people are more than 80% of the country. They should have more opportunities. We condemned it and we don't believe it. You deserve the best. This is what I'm saying. And I believe that God is going to change this country. I'm telling you, like Desmond Tutu said, as the ANC prayed for the white government to fall, so are people praying for the ANC government to fall. So please, let us pray and ask God really for that supernatural breakthrough, so that we can take South Africa to a country where we're supposed to be.
Fantastic.
God bless you.
Christopher,
God
Charles,
bless.
thank you so much for joining me tonight, and have a great evening, guys. And look, we'll follow with interest what happens in the future. And Christopher, keep in touch with Marlena. If something big is happening you want us to talk about, just let us know, okay?
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it. God bless you. Good night.
Take care, guys.
Grace.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys, that was Christopher and Charles from the Spectrum National Party. And I'm going to go out tonight with Hier Bly Ek Boer, one of our theme songs. And this is by Winston Coetzee. Have a great evening, everybody. And thanks to the mods for keeping an eye on the side chat for Loving Life TV. And please remember to register on lovinglifetv.com to be kept informed. And when you do go to lovinglifetv.com, please check out our forum. Our forum has got amazing content. There are literally dozens of PDFs that cover everything that you can download free, from recipes to herbs to what you name it, it's all there. And of course we got articles about different topical issues in South Africa. We've also got the daily news through South Africa Today, which we broadcast on lovinglifetv.com. And of course we got videos related to topical issues around the world, with a focus on the issues regarding globalism, the World Economic Forum, the central bank digital currency, the manner in which these entities are trying to control us. All right. Have a great evening, and don't forget, tomorrow night, Thursday night, I have got Dr. Peter Hammond and Henry and Henry and Mandy Jackson joining me, and we're going to be talking about the old days in Rhodesia, the old Rhodesia, and what happened post Mugabe to not only Peter but also to Henry and Mandy. And just as a bit of a sequel on that, Henry and Mandy have got some fantastic short videos. They run for about 10 minutes each that we're going to run as a series on lovinglivetv.com, which tell their story about living in Rhodesia under Mugabe. And I tell you what, it'll bring tears to your eyes when you listen to that series. Okay, guys, here comes Hier Bly Ek Boer. Have a great evening, and bye for now.
Meer as 61.000 van ons voorvaders het op die grens vir ons gesterwe, sodat ons vry kan wees. Die is my land, die is my reg, hier is ek boer. Van stof is ek gemaak en sal ek terugkeer. Die Bybel is die woord waaruit ek leer, soos die grond op die aarde. Hier bly ek boer. Soos diep in die nacht sal die vyand kom, maar hier bly ek staan en ek draai nie om, want jy maak my nie bang nie. Hier bly ek boer. Die is my land waarvoor ek sal veg. Die is my bloed, my sweet, my reg. Die is die plek waar my voorvaders leef. Die is my land, hoor wat ek jou sê. Die is my land, wat my mense voer. Hier bly ek boer. Soos 'n blaassam in die somer wat vreugde bring, my oupa wat Manikiru kon sing, soos hy stap deur die lande. Hier was hy boer. My wortels lê diep in die grond geplant. Hy sien soos my pa, los ek vir jou die land, en jy hoef nie te vrees nie. Hier sal jy boer. My land waarvoor ek sal veg. Die is my bloed, my sweet, my reg. Die is die plek waar my voorvaders leef. Die is my land, hoor wat ek jou sê. Die is my land, wat my mense voer. Hier bly ek boer. Die sal kom. Sal kom, die leeu 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 sal kom.